telling the most important person in the world to me a white lie over 2 years ago. So I, late 20s male, may have ruined the best thing in my life because I told my partner, early 30s female, a white lie when we first started dating. So a year or so before my partner and I started dating, I was casually dating people as many do in their mid 20s. Eventually, I met a girl, 25F, that I dated for 2.5 to 3 months. I say dated because we actually only went on dates for about a month, and the rest of the time was 25F canceling plans or straight up standing me up. For some additional context, a year prior to that, I had gotten out of a very bad relationship that resulted in me moving in with my parents for about 10 months. My parents hated the person who I had ended that relationship with, and I was trying to build back up the relationship between me and my parents from that time. When 25F came into the picture, my parents went crazy for her and loved her, and I felt like I owed it to them to keep someone around that they would love. When 25F began to cancel plans on me and stand me up on dates, I had to constantly make excuses as to my parents, as to why she was not there, or why she stood me up, to the point where I would pretend to go on dates and just go do things alone to make it seem like everything was fine because my parents were getting too involved and I just didn't want to talk to them about the situation because I was embarrassed and didn't want to let them down. After around 3 months, I ended things with 25F because it was causing me more harm than good, and I was tired of feeling played. 25F tried to keep me around for a little while longer, but I didn't want that kind of toxicity around anymore. So there was a hard cutoff, and I left it in the past, kind of deciding that it was too short of a time and too crazy to really dwell on anymore. Jump forward about a year, and I meet my current partner, early 30s F. And I became crazy about her. I was starting over with a new life, new home, and new job, and she came in at the perfect time. But we both had some baggage from past trauma, but hers was much worse than mine. She was from another country that had experienced a war when she was a child, and some other things happened at that time that really affected her. I was also only her second boyfriend ever, and I was a little concerned that she would feel upset over the dating I had done in my past. I had told her about the big relationships from before, but didn't really talk about people I dated for shorter amount of time because it just didn't seem like it was necessary. The past was in the past, and they didn't really affect my life now. We are on one of our early dates about 2.5 years ago when 25F calls me out of the blue while my phone was sitting on the table. I was surprised but just said to my partner, "Oh, it's a friend. I will deal with it later." And by dealing with it, I meant telling 25F that I'm in a relationship and to not call anymore. I had mentioned 25F briefly to my partner in the past, but never really said her name. I tell 25F I'm in a relationship and I'm not interested, and I learned that she had moved far away, so I figure, great, problem solved, life can continue. That was the moment that I wish I would have done differently now. Jump to this morning. My partner finds my old Facebook profile that I hadn't logged into since before I had ever met my partner, and finds a picture I posted of 25F from 3 years ago, and is able to find her name through that picture. That is when she realizes that she was the person who called me unexpectedly on our date years ago, and now hates me for lying to her about what happened that day. She now thinks I was hiding all of this contact that I was having with 25F while we were starting our relationship and is mad that I just referred to her as a friend that called. She is so hurt, and I feel so awful, and I genuinely think I may have ruined the best thing to ever happen to me because I thought I was avoiding drama years ago. I feel so awful and like a horrible person. Learn from me. Just be honest with partners. Even if you think it's not a big deal, to them it might be. I am writing this now in the aftermath of it all. TLDR, I told the love of my life what I thought was a white lie 2.5 years ago to avoid drama, and it may have cost me everything this morning. Learn from my mistakes. Be honest to the ones you love, even if it doesn't seem like a big deal. Update. Sorry for waiting a day before updating. Yesterday was a day that felt like weeks. I tried to calmly explain my side of things, but she said she cannot trust anything I say anymore. Talking with friends and family and seeing what everyone here said yesterday really set my head on straight. This was an extreme reaction to a small moment from years ago, and I'm walking away from the situation for now. Her reaction was not normal to the situation. I could have done things differently those years ago, but I also did what anyone would have done in that weird situation. And after calling me an evil manipulator for hours, she had the nerve to ask me for big favors for things completely unrelated. I stood up for myself and told her no, she doesn't need help from an evil person. I appreciate everyone's feedback and support through all of this. Today I fucked up by grossing out my wife. I'll keep this short and sweet. Edit, medium length and foul, I guess. Okay, so relevant info. I am very sweaty and acne prone and wear a tank top as my undershirt at work. When I left work today and took off my work shirt for the commute, gotta be comfy, I noticed a large white head on my shoulder. You know how sometimes shit doesn't bug you until you notice it, but then it starts to hurt? That's what happened here. Unfortunately, I couldn't pick at it myself because of the angle it was at. It would hurt my neck to look at it. And also, I was driving, duh. PSA to pay attention to the road. Don't do stupid shit like texting or popping zits or your makeup or whatever while you're behind the wheel. So, I asked my wife to get it when I got home. So I got home and she popped the thing with 2 Q-tips. When it splorted, she made a noise like, "Wah," half ooh, half uh. So I asked to look at the thing that came out of weird curiosity, and when she handed me the Q-tip with the goo, I pretended to pick it off and eat it as a prank on her. She proceeded to almost throw up on my lap. This made me laugh, which in turn made her laugh, and we had a laughter feedback loop that got so bad she started gasping for air. When this happens, she has a rescue inhaler. Unfortunately for both of us, she doesn't leave it in one particular spot. It was a very scary 20 seconds before I found the thing. Thankfully, she is okay now, but I fucked up for sure. TLDR, my wife popped a zit for me, and I grossed her out by pretending to eat the pus, which resulted in her having such a strong visceral reaction that she needed her inhaler. Today, I fucked up by practicing my screams. I can't believe this actually happened. Meow. So 45 minutes ago, I was laying in bed and I had just remembered that one of my dreams last night was a nightmare. I'd cake if anyone else gets these types of dreams, but I was running from something and couldn't scream. So if Sack, I remember that and start screaming bloody murder. 1, because I wanted to check if I could still scream, and 2, because it got kind of fun pretending I was in a horror movie. Anyway, I'm home alone, hence the screaming. I do it only 3 times, and I didn't realize my window was open. My bedroom is right across the street from our neighbors, who happen to be cops. You can assume what happened here. Knock at the door 10 minutes later. Is everything all right? I had to lie and say I was recording a video because WTF. How do I explain what I was doing? Anyways, I get along with that neighbor, so it's fine, but now I'm so embarrassed and I'll have to make them cookies or something. My face is still red. TLDR. I fucked up today by screaming a lot for no reason and causing my cop neighbor to come check on me. Today, I fucked up by not taking care of my teeth. I, 23 years old female, have always had issues with dental hygiene. And today, the fruits of this major fuck-up came to bite me in the ass. My teeth have always been messy. After I lost my baby teeth, my adult teeth came in crooked. I ended up with a massive overbite big enough to fit my thumb in. We never had the money for braces or the dentist, but nonetheless, I was always told to take care of my teeth by my parents. I, being a lazy, stubborn child, did not listen. For most of my life, I've neglected my oral health despite my parents' warnings. I would go months, years even, without brushing my teeth or flossing. Today, I decided that I felt sufficiently gross and finally brushed my teeth after who knows how long. At least a few years since my last decent brushing. But as I was brushing, when I bared my teeth to the mirror, I noticed something. One of my front teeth was partially destroyed by acidic drinks, and the other had a hole in it, one that wasn't there before I started brushing, meaning my teeth have become horrifyingly brittle. I'm horrified. I should have listened. But I, lazy and stubborn fool that I am, let my teeth start to rot and fall apart. My mother always warned me that if I didn't take care of my teeth, I'd end up with dentures before I was 30. I thought she was exaggerating. Shows me to disbelieve my mom. Now I'm a horror story about how kids who don't brush their teeth end up regretting it. TLDR. My mom told me that I should brush my teeth. I didn't listen, and now I'm paying the price for my own negligence. Today, I fucked up by making a promise to a 3-year-old. So, many years ago, my daughter was learning to talk, and thanks to my foul mouth, she learned proper use of curse words fairly quickly. We then spent a lengthy amount of time teaching her what words were inappropriate and what to substitute them with. She would quickly get exasperated and explain in her way that the substitute words didn't have the same oomph as a curse word. And of course, all the grandparents thought it was hilarious and adorable and encouraged the use of this foul language. At some point during all this teaching, I supposedly promised my 3-year-old daughter that I'd let her cuss when she turned 15. I don't truly remember promising, but I do remember the conversations involved around the time, and I'm sure it was my exasperation that made me promise this. So on her 15th birthday, after blowing out her candles, she immediately jumped for joy, clapping her hands and exclaimed, "This is the most fantastic fucking birthday ever." Of course, I was in shock. Her father immediately TF'd her, and she launched into what had to have been a planned speech about this promise I made and how she's been holding on to my words for over a decade, how excited she is to finally be 15, and how she can absolutely curse now because mom promised. In the end, we talked to her and explained how that was a promise made in frustration and exasperation. And while it is unfair to hold me to it, we could compromise. The compromise was she only uses the foul language at home, absolutely never at school, and she avoids using it around extended family and her younger brothers, who consequently are also looking forward to their 15th birthdays, expecting the same deal. I also know I can't stop her from using foul language around her friends, but I told her to limit it to their texting, and again, never at school, never around other kids' parents. We've taught her to use her best judgment on when the word is acceptable, and we've all toned down our cursing, foul language. She's generally a really good kid, so if cursing is the worst thing she does as a teenager, I can deal with it. TLDR. Promised my daughter at age 3 she could say curse words at age 15, and she held me to it. Today, I fucked up by using an inflation calculator to check my salary growth. It started as a random curiosity. I'd been at my job since 2015 and recently got a promotion. I thought it'd be interesting to see how my salary has kept up with inflation over the years, especially since I felt pretty good about that promotion. Spoiler, it was not interesting. It was soul-crushing. So, I punched in the numbers, my starting salary in 2015 and my current salary after 9 long years of loyalty, hard work, and one big promotion. I was expecting a decent difference. Something to justify all those late nights, skipped vacations, and doing more with less speeches. But when the inflation-adjusted numbers popped up on the screen, I had to do a double take. The difference? A measly 3.24%. That's it. After nearly a decade, my salary has only increased by 3.24% when adjusted for inflation. I stared at the screen in disbelief, feeling a mix of anger, sadness, and, honestly, a sense of betrayal. I've always been the loyal employee type, the one who sticks it out because things will eventually get better, right? But this felt like a slap in the face from the universe telling me that my loyalty was worth next to nothing. To add salt to the wound, I started thinking about all the opportunities I passed up, the job offers I didn't pursue because I was comfortable, or so I thought. I was playing it safe, believing that sticking with my company would pay off in the long run. But now, it's clear that I've been shortchanging myself, literally. I could have pushed harder to move up or moved on to somewhere that would have valued my experience and contributions more. But instead, I let myself get complacent. And now I'm facing the harsh reality that my promotion barely kept pace with inflation. I can't help but feel like I really fucked up by not trying harder to get out of here sooner. Now I'm left wondering how to pick up the pieces and make up for lost time. I guess the moral of the story is, don't let loyalty blind you to the fact that sometimes you're just not getting what you're worth. TLDR. Today, I fucked up by using an inflation calculator, entering my salary from when I first got hired, 2015, and comparing it to the salary I have today. The difference after 9 years and one promotion is 3.24%. I'm very depressed about how bad I fucked up by not trying harder to get out of here before. Today, I fucked up by accidentally sending a private email to the entire company. So this happened a few days ago, and I'm still dying of embarrassment. I work at a pretty big company, and we get these all-hands emails all the time. They're usually about stuff that could easily be handled in a smaller meeting or even a short memo. Everyone I know pretty much ignores them because they're so frequent and usually irrelevant. I was venting about this to my work friend over email. I wrote this long, annoyed message about how pointless these emails are and included some not-so-flattering comments about our boss and a few of the execs. I even called out specific people for their ridiculous obsession with unnecessary updates. Well, in my tired and frustrated state, I somehow managed to hit reply all instead of just replying to my friend. So yeah, my rant went out to the entire company, over 500 people, including the boss and all the execs I'd just insulted. Within minutes, my inbox blew up with responses ranging from, "Dude, you're brave," to, "I can't believe you sent this." My boss called me into his office, and I had to sit there and awkwardly explain that it was a mistake and apologize like my life depended on it. I didn't get fired, but I'm definitely on thin ice. Now, every time an all-hands email goes out, my coworkers remind me to double-check the recipient list, and I'm pretty sure I'll never live this down. TLDR. Accidentally sent a ranting email about pointless company-wide messages to the entire company, including the boss and execs. Had to apologize, didn't get fired, but now everyone reminds me to check my recipients.